85% of adults drink caffeine, but most still feel exhausted. Coincidence? We're not just tired from doing too much. We're tired from doing the wrong things to feel awake. After years of afternoon crashes and experimenting with everything from espresso shots to caffeine pills, I finally figured out how to build real, sustainable energy without depending on the go-to buzz 24/7. So in this video, I'll break down the 5 biggest changes that gave me lasting energy, plus why caffeine might be aging you, and what finally made me quit. Let's kick it off with the first change that shocked my nervous system in the best way possible. One of the first things I experimented with on my journey was cold showers, because I heard they were like a jump start for your nervous system. When cold water hits your skin, it kicks off your sympathetic nervous system into gear, releasing a cocktail of endorphins and cortisol. Think of it like shocking your mitochondria awake with a bucket of ice and having your brain's neurons lit up like fireworks on 4th of July. And here's how I started. I take my normal shower, then crank the water cold for the last 30 seconds. That alone was enough to jolt me awake, and once that got easier, I would stretch it to a full minute. I also recommend doing this in the mornings to set the tone for the day. Sure, it's brutal at first, but not any worse than sleepwalking to your 3rd cup of coffee before 9 a.m. Cold showers didn't just fire up my body, it trained my brain to lean into discomfort and help start my day with momentum. It's like taking your first win of the day before breakfast. But not every energy upgrade has to involve hypothermia. And this one's simple. If the sun isn't hitting your face first thing in the morning, your energy system's already lagging. I made it a daily habit to step outside within minutes of waking up. It felt weird at first, but what happened next kind of surprised me. Sunlight triggers a healthy spike in cortisol, your natural wake-up hormone, while also signaling your pineal gland to cut the melatonin. Basically, it resets your body's biological alarm clock, and if your body were a phone, this is how you charge it to 80% before breakfast. No cords, no caffeine, just nature's own power-up. So here's how to do it. Step outside within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. No sunglasses, no windows, just raw, unfiltered daylight hitting your retinas like nature's alarm clock. It's not always fun. Sometimes it's just you, your mismatched socks, and the sunrise on the balcony, but it works. It's the most natural, free, and effective way to boost energy that literally every cell in your body understands. Now, let's talk about what I put in my body and not what I stood in front of. And this brings us to adaptogenic herbs. These have been used for centuries to keep people moving, thinking, and thriving. So, I started experimenting with adaptogens, specifically rhodiola, and wanted to see if these natural energy supporters could actually keep me focused and grounded without the stimulant buzz. Unlike caffeine, which pushes your system into overdrive, adaptogens like rhodiola act more like wise old mentors for your stress hormones. Rhodiola has also been shown to improve how your body uses energy, especially during physical and mental stress. It's like upgrading from a sprint-based energy model to a hybrid engine. You run smoother, longer, and without burning out. So here's what worked for me. I started taking rhodiola in capsule form right after breakfast, usually somewhere between 200 to 400 milligrams. I kept the dose on the lower side at first to see how my body would react. The key is finding one labeled standardized to rosavins. That's the part of the plant that actually delivers the benefits. Basically, you want the version that doesn't just promise results, but shows up to work in a lab coat with a clipboard in hand. Think of it like plugging your nervous system into a steady power source without the spikes or crashes. But even the best adaptogen can't save you from one thing: your blood sugar. And if you're crashing at 3 p.m., it might not be your willpower, but the foods you eat in the morning. I didn't realize at first, but my breakfast was actually setting me up to crash, and I felt healthy until I tanked faster than a 3 p.m. Zoom call. When you start your day with sugary carbs or ultra refined breakfast foods, you send your blood sugar on a Six Flags roller coaster. That crash pulls your rug out from under your energy and signals your brain to reach for a chemical fix, usually caffeine or more sugar. It's not about willpower, it's about chemistry. So I went ahead and tested out higher protein breakfast meals, and the shift was instant. And it's quite simple to follow by just starting your day out with a protein heavy breakfast. Think of eggs, Greek yogurt, or a smoothie with some healthy fats. Something your grandma would call real food, and skip the granola bar sugar bombs that turn your pancreas into a pinball machine. So with all these upgrades, you'd think I was good to go, but something still didn't sit right. It had to do with how infrequently I was moving throughout the day besides working out and occasional walks to the fridge. Now, the one thing I underestimated on this journey was how much simple movement throughout the day could impact my energy levels. I'm not talking about your heavy lifting or hour-long workouts, just something that gets your body going and bring your brain back online. When you move, you stimulate blood flow, oxygen delivery, and endorphins release. It's like a natural espresso shot without the anxiety crash, especially if you work at a desk. So getting up every hour and doing 2 minutes of movement is like pressing reset on your brain. And I try not to overthink it, and started off by doing 5-minute mobility breaks every morning and post-lunch walks to keep that sluggish feeling away. It turned out to be one of the most reliable, low-effort energy hacks I found. So caffeine might wake you up, but over time it could also wear you down, and if you care about energy and aging, it's worth rethinking that relationship. And speaking about aging, you know what's worse than an afternoon crash? Realizing that your daily coffee habits might be fast-tracking your biological age. I used to think caffeine was just about energy, but the more I looked into it, the more I realized it's also tied down to aging, and not in a good way. Here's how it adds up. First, there's sleep disruption. Caffeine can stay in your system for up to 10 hours, wrecking your deep sleep, which is the window when your body's busy repairing, detoxifying, and regenerating itself. All of this just means is less sleep, more cellular stress, and slower recovery. And that temporary focus boost you feel, it's being driven by a spike in cortisol, your stress hormone. When that becomes chronic, it leads to inflammation, fat around the midsection, and even telomere shortening. Those little protective caps on your DNA that shrink with age. Here's another twist. Caffeine can also spike blood sugar and amplify blood sugar spikes, especially if you're having it with something carb heavy like a muffin. That combo drives up glycation, a process that damages collagen and other tissues, aging you from the inside out. And if you've noticed dull skin or that wired but tired feeling, you might already be seeing these effects without even realizing it. Once I saw the big picture, I knew I had to rethink my daily dependency, and it was clear as day that the long-term cost wasn't worth the short-term buzz anymore. See, I still relied on caffeine on a daily basis until I started looking deeper, and that's when I learned how it was really affecting my system. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine, the neurotransmitter that makes you feel sleepy. But here's the twist. It doesn't get rid of adenosine, it just masks it. So when the caffeine wears off, all that unprocessed sleepiness comes flooding in like a debt collector. Add in the growing tolerance, the unpredictable sleep, and that underlying anxious edge, and you've got a recipe for burnout disguised as productivity. So here's what I did. I tapered off over 2 weeks while doubling down on everything else in this video. It wasn't graceful. There were some grumpy mornings and withdrawal yawns, but when the fog lifted, it felt like my nervous system finally stopped acting like it needed therapy. And now, let's bring this journey full circle with one final thought. Let's be real, dropping caffeine isn't easy. It's like breaking up with a clingy ex who always shows up at your lowest point. But with that being said, I still enjoy caffeine from time to time with family and friends as a way to further bond. So if this video flipped the way you see caffeine and energy, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Till next time.